We had the hands-off protests yesterday, which were protests against Donald Trump and Elon Musk all over the country, not just in our nation's capital, not just in state capitals, but a bunch of different cities all over the country. Hundreds of thousands of people showed up to protest what is currently happening in this administration. And I talked about that yesterday a little bit. Now, for the most part, the mainstream media is not talking about these protests. It's being left to creators like myself and other creators who live stream the protests that were there, who are talking about what happened, things like that. Well, when it comes to these protests, I'm seeing a lot of comments in my comment sections and in the comment sections of other videos talking about it with a bunch of wild claims by Republicans. Of course, they're trying to discredit these protests entirely because their God and Savior, Donald Trump, can't do anything wrong. People can't possibly be against Donald Trump. Why would they be? At least not in their minds. So what are some of the reasons they're saying the protests aren't real? Well, they're saying the people were bussed in. Haven't seen any evidence of people being brought in from all over the country. There might have been some buses lined up for people who wanted to go but didn't have reliable transportation. That's entirely possible. But it wasn't like the Democratic Party was just finding people and shipping them to go do this protest. That wasn't what was happening. They are saying George Soros paid the protesters. Well, that didn't happen. George Soros has always been the boogeyman when it comes to the Republican Party, just because he's a billionaire who leans liberal and democratic. Of course, anything that happens, he's always got his hands in it, according to Republicans. Yet they cheer for a couple of literal billionaires in Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and that seems to be okay when it's their side. You know, the hypocrisy thing. Beyond that, they're also trying to say, well, it was just Kamala Harris voters who were just mad because Donald Trump won. Well, you can be a Kamala Harris voter and be mad about what Donald Trump and Elon Musk are actively doing because you see the truth of what's going on. Some of these are clearly bots, especially the ones that have, no profile picture, just a user and a bunch of numbers. Those kind of ones are bots. I'm almost certain of it. But the ones that aren't, they will make any excuse because they can't believe people would protest Donald Trump. Now, they'll probably end up out there protesting against him, too, when it comes back and bites them and things actively hurt their economy and things are rougher for them. But until that point, they're going to continue to point fingers, point blame, and try to pass off, this protest as not actually being anything, when it was a really good sign of people being frustrated with Donald Trump. These protests are going to continue, and they're only going to get bigger.